also a part of the protests that were happening countrywide from Bengaluru as well when the CJP was sitting in protest at the Jantar Mantar. So along with me are Devna and Shroik. They are students of premium institutes here in Bengaluru who are also a part of the protest that happened here in the city. So coming to you, Shraik, I just want to ask about the Member of Parliament, Kangana Ranaut has come down heavily on the Generation Z as such, the Gen Z as such. She has called the cockroaches filth and the generation as such as Generation Gutter. And the videos or the reels that they had made is a kind of puke-inducing, nauseating. So your take on that?
First of all, I would like to say that if a member of the parliament can call citizens of this country, the public of this country as filth, that raises more questions about that member of the parliament, and it just shows how disconnected they are. I think this movement, this whole movement reminded all our politicians that people are the most important thing in this country, and if that induces this reaction to some of them, then it just shows who they are and who they care for. So yeah, I think it just made clear how little some of them care about us.
Okay. So Devna, what you have to say about the Member of Parliament Kangana Ranaut's statements?
Similar things that he was also talking about. They are a member of parliament because we voted them to be one. So then they are also accountable to us, and whatever needs that we have, that should be the demands that they should also have. But then this has clearly showed how they view us, how they view the power of people, and then similar things that we're saying. Okay,
so let's now get into some more details of this particular protest that had happened in Jantar Mantar, and I'm sure that you guys were doing a simultaneous, a parallel protest here in Bengaluru as well. You guys are not affiliated to the CJP as such, but you are kind of showing your support for the Cockroach Janata Party. So now the kind of language or the profanities that were used by way of reels or through social media engagement against a prime minister, against sort of the leadership of the country, do you think that that could be justified by this generation?
So let me point out one thing, that most of the posters, most of the slogans that were raised were in fact very humorous in nature, and that is probably one of the biggest reasons of the success behind this movement. From the day of its inception, CJP started as a bunch of memes. And I think throughout the protest, people did very well to keep their calm despite police action, despite repeated police action, targeting by goons and everything. They were able to keep their heads straight and resort to humor, and which I think is one of the most strongest weapons around. I believe it was John Lennon who said that when they start laughing at you, that is when people are not afraid anymore, and then governments can fall. Which is why I think the government is so scared right now, and it's cracking down on activists and bringing charges from 5 years ago, 4 years ago. As far as profanity is concerned, obviously we do not believe that profanity should be used, but at least for the people on the ground, we should also understand the frustration, and we should also understand that all of this could have been solved much earlier if the ministers in the ruling government had come down to meet with the protesters. From the beginning, this demand was there that come talk to us, come meet with us, try to resolve these issues. There was no reason for Sonam Wangchuk and 6 more students to sit on hunger strike for 23 days. There was no reason for all the students from all over the country to go to Delhi and sit in that scorching heat and rain and everything for so many days. It is, I think, from that frustration that some profanities came, and we can take it as individual faults, but we should also look at the systemic failure which brought that around.
Okay. So now coming to the Jantar Mantar protest, do you think that there was this police excess that caused this generation to flung into that mode, that profanity mode, or because of the police high-handedness, did they choose to do this, or what could be the other reasons that you could relate to your generation? So what exactly had happened with your observations that had which unfolded in Delhi?
I think when we talk about profanity, we should also mention what kind of profanity are we talking about, because the current government have been seeing so many things that are just civil rights, democratic rights as profanity. So then we should talk about what kind of profanity they're talking about. But also, I don't know if it was the reaction that I saw in Jantar Mantar that the protesters had towards the police was, like he was saying, very humorous. They were doing reels. They were doing. They were talking to them. They were like literally talking to the police, engaging with the police in very civil manner. But the reaction of the police for this peaceful protest was very shameful. Actually, they were lathi charging random students who were just walking to their own parliament. The parliament is for the people. No, they were walking towards the parliament, and then there was huge crackdown on students in the form of lathi charge, in the form of pellet guns, in the form of tear gas and all of that. That is very shameful to see, because the police is there to protect us. It's not the police is not just there to protect the parliamentarians who are there or the government who is there. It's also to protect us. It was very frustrating to see how the police reacted to something like this, something which was very peaceful, which students were asking for their basic democratic rights. Students were asking for basic good education system, right?
Do you think that the police excess had caused this sudden outburst of anger from the Gen Zs, like in with their profanity, with the words there were some songs sung with abuses directly or the leadership of the country. So does this generation justify, is what my question is.
Like he was saying, I don't think abusing the government is justified. That is not what you're saying. But then the what we saw in our social medias, because we were here, not in Jantar Mantar, what we saw was very much humorful, where the slogans were also very humor inducing and not very abusive as such. So
It was creative.
Yeah, it was very creative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now coming to Kangana Ranaut again, she says that this is this generation has got a kind of a different take as a whole. Like she's. So what do you have to say on that?
Sorry. I would say that I think for a lot of people in this country for a long time, the ideal has been obedience. The ideal has been following orders and somehow preserving or looking at obedience as a big virtue. I think for the first time, a whole generation said that, wait, if you ask for obedience, also give us some reason, also give us some logic. And it is this spirit that do not just tell us what to do, but also explain why we should do it. And if your logic doesn't make sense, we will speak out, is what drove this protest forward. So yes, you have a generation who is ready to question, who will not take orders just because the orders were given, and it's a very hopeful thing. It's a very hopeful thing.
Okay. So do you think that Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation came only after this?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think Dharmendra Pradhan was forced to resign because of this massive people's movement. And it was not just the Gen Z who was on the road. It was also children who were also beaten up by the police brutally. There were also senior citizens who came out. It was people from all walks of life. In Delhi, you would have seen maybe one reel of a garbage collector coming and walking with the students. Here in Bengaluru, one BMTC bus driver came to show solidarity with us. So